From the heart of Yerevan right to your smartphone and TV sets, this is CivilNet's Daily News Digest for Tuesday, October 15. I'm Maria Titizian.
And I'm Paul Chaderjian. In today's Digest, free at last. A citizen activist is released under amnesty after being kept behind bars for over 2 years.
Plus, a fatal stabbing and 400 arrests in Moscow. Why migrant laborers from the Caucasus are being targeted.
And the backbone of an agrarian economy, why the UN is putting its spotlight on rural women.
Later, from the Americans to Armenia, native dancers share their blessings through music and dance. Reactions continue to pour in as a citizen activist jailed for nearly 2.5 years was acquitted of hooliganism.
Dikran Arakelian met with his supporters last night to thank them for their devotion and attention to his case. He and 3 others witnessed what they considered the unlawful body search by police of a passerby. When the men tried to intervene, they got into a scuffle with police. As a result, they were jailed with different offenses. The most serious charge was leveled against Dikran Arakelian. Reaction in social media were jubilant, most simply writing, "Dikran is free."
That's right. One Facebook user wrote that if he bumps into Dikran in any one of Yerevan's pubs, the beer's on him. On Twitter, Aniwan Daryan wrote, Finally, political prisoner Arakelian is free."
As of yesterday, Monday, October 14th, 505 people had been released under the general amnesty proposed by President Chaderjian on the occasion of the 22nd anniversary of Armenia's independence. According to the Ministry of Justice, 43 were released on October 11th alone.
Almost 400 people have been arrested following a rampage in an industrial district of Moscow by Russian nationalists. The melee took place following the stabbing death of a local 25-year-old Russian man that was later blamed on a migrant, purportedly from the Caucasus or Central Asia. The crowds on Sunday were chanting slogans such as "Russia for Russians" and "White Power." The riot broke out on Sunday when hundreds of young people attacked a vegetable market where many migrant workers are employed. The 1,000-strong mob smashed windows and set off smoke bombs. Local law enforcement agencies circulated closed-circuit TV footage of a man they believed to be a suspect. Russian media have identified the alleged attacker as a migrant. Ethnic tensions have simmered for years in Moscow and other major centers in Russia that have been flooded by migrant laborers, mostly from the Caucasus and Central Asia.
Today is International Day of Rural Women. We wanted to know about the rural population of women in Armenia, and we found these numbers from last year, 2012, from the National Statistical Service. There are 588,600 women living in rural settlements. 19% of that number, or every 5th woman, is under the age of 15.
That's right. 56% of women are employed in the agricultural sector compared to 44% of men.
Average monthly wage for women who work in the agricultural sphere is 42,000 drams, or about $103.
And there are 22 women village mayors out of a possible 866.
Only 28% of rural women in Armenia said they are satisfied with their lives. In the cities, that average is 33%, while 42% of women living in Yerevan said they were satisfied with their lives.
Well, whatever the statistics are, rural women play an important role in the economy, agriculture, and rural life of Armenia. The United Nations designated October 15th as International Day of Rural Women to recognize the critical role they play, not only in agricultural and rural development, but also in improving food security and eradicating rural poverty.
Researchers from American University of Armenia were out this weekend assessing water quality in the Margahovit in Lari Mars in northeast Armenia. The weekend survey is part of the AUA's Agopian Center for Environment's larger project to determine whether 22 rivers and streams are suitable for the reintroduction of brown trout. Armenia is one of very few places in the world which is home to the genetically pure brown trout. However, due to the overfishing in the 1990s, the species has become scarce. Joining AUA scientists with the Armenia Tree Project's Eco Club, made of high school students from the same village.
The Agopian Center researchers were also out with the Max Planck Institute of Ornithology from Germany. The two institutions have partnered on a project to tag white stork nestlings with GPS markers. The study, which is a first for Armenia, will track the migration patterns of the European white stork, helping scientists understand how population movements change in response to environmental change.
Armenian students around the world can now take advantage of virtual courses offered by Yerevan State University. The Distance Learning Laboratory at YSU is offering English language courses for the first time ever to anyone who has access to the internet. The director of the pioneering program is Dr. Chaderjian. He said, quote, "Contemporary education itself must be democratized and become as accessible as possible. This distance learning program will also contribute to the dissemination of Armenian issues across the world." End of quote. Many see this as a positive initiative, in particular for developing diaspora-Armenia relations. English language courses cover a range of topics, including sociology, psychology, international relations, and Armenian studies.
And here is a quick look at the exchange rates.
The Central Bank of Armenia says the dollar is worth 408 dirhams. 652 is what you'll get for the British pound. The euro buys you 553 dirhams, and the ruble buys you 12 dirhams and 60 luma. And the forecast for this Tuesday.
It looks like this. The high for today is 22 degrees Celsius, which is 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Gyumri will see a high of 55 and low of 34. Stepanakert will be 14 degrees Celsius, and your travel forecast for Gapan is 15 degrees Celsius.
On CivilNet over the weekend, Maria introduced you to a group of Native American dancers from Peru who were performing on Northern Avenue in Yerevan.
With their colorful feathers and traditional outfits, the group attracted lots of spectators who listened to the wooden instruments and watched the dancing with great interest.
Yeah.
And this is South American music, Peruvian music?
Yeah, it's mixing South American music and North American music, but I'm Indian, native. For me, it's very amazing to make music here in Armenia, to make it happy the people here.
The group was also selling CDs and Indian bracelets. Inti Edwin told us that they plan to continue their world tour by going to Georgia next.
Quite an interesting act on Northern Avenue.
That's for sure.
People were enjoying them. We want to hear from you. Our email address is english@civilnet.am.
And that's our digest for this Tuesday. Have a great evening.